we move with swagger on repeat. Neon lights reflecting on the wet concrete. In this daily drip shows hypnotic heat. Every step we take, synchronized and bold. Underneath the storm, our stories unfold. In the city glow, our fashion never old. We drip in style, conquer hearts uncontrolled. Watch us move, watch us glide. Through the rain and the night we slide. Drip too strong, you can't hide. Join the show, let's ride this tide.
Welcome to the Drip Show. I am here with a surprise host, not surprise guest, named Jim Jones. What's going on? What's going on, Jim Jones?
Hey, y'all. It's that late night drippy for y'all today. So excited to be here. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this with 2 friends plus a relative. Let them know what's going on. We got different topics for everybody. So just happy to be here and just reminding you, hit that like button.
All right. And I like that. I like that in you. So thank you for staying with us on this drip. You know what I'm saying? And so we just gonna go ahead and get straight up into it and then let everybody get through it. How about that?
You know, the references to like up in something and all that these days is just real touchy. But yeah, go ahead. With everything
Mo,
going on,
say
go ahead.
Mo Diddy.
Astro intimate.
Astroglide? I don't know. Okay. All right.
Should we give a little bit of insight before we hit play?
Normally, I wouldn't even entertain
Am
this,
I?
but the fact that you mentioned my children,
If you don't know who this is,
I'm
this
not
is
letting that ride.
a rapper.
Since this whole situation happened, everybody know I never said nothing.
Situation
Only
as in
time I
his
said
ex-wife,
something was the
Remy Ma.
last time when she tried to clout chase with the whole
Remy Ma
fake thing
shit.
she tried to put on Instagram before. But ever since this transpired, I never opened my mouth, never said nothing because that's not my style. And also,
Transpired. She
I would
was
never
out
want
with a
to
dude.
disrespect her. You know what I mean? Actions speak way louder than words. Initially, when it transpired, which was 2022, when she started dealing with the lane, but that wasn't the first time I caught her cheating. I've caught her cheating numerous times since she's been home.
Been home as
With
in
the
she was in
lane,
jail.
the reason, but
Prison.
hold on, let's get to the point. We're gonna get to the lane later. You had the audacity to mention my child, and you had the audacity to mention me not seeing my daughter. When ever since I left, she has not allowed me to see my daughter. She's been
But because
straight
then they
miserable.
no longer they got
I'm gonna say it
divorced.
again. All men out there who ever been through this type of situation, you know how it gets when you're dealing with a miserable individual. She did not allow me to see my daughter since this first transpired at the end of last year.
They had one daughter after she got out of
Blatantly, I
prison
went to pick my daughter
pretty
up from
quickly.
school. When I went to pick my daughter up from school,
Mm-hmm.
Diamond was picking my daughter up because that's who has my
Diamond.
daughter all the time. And that was
I
one
think
of the
Diamond might
biggest
be.
issues I had with her because all my daughter know is mommy and daddy. She was raised with both parents. That's all she know from day one since the womb. Our entire
So we're gonna go ahead and
Let me
stop
see
there.
how old is this girl? Because I
Talking
actually
about
don't.
they kid is gonna be school age, so ain't nothing crazy.
She's born. Yeah, I need to find out how old she is. He was talking about, like since she was school age, So I need to find out. Oh, they got another kid too, actually. Because Papoose already has a daughter who is grown. She's
Yeah.
born in '96. So yeah, he got another daughter. So I should have looked up Remy Ma. I'm just curious now. I don't know how old she got to be little though. She's not big.
No. Not
Okay,
at
so
all.
her birthday is
You don't
coming.
gotta don't put it out there. Leave the
No, I'm not
kids
gonna
alone.
say her name. Her
Okay.
birthday. It's coming up. So I'm saying like whatever birthday she is, she's gonna be 7. So she's gonna be 7. So keep in mind he's talking about cheating that happened about 3 years ago. If the baby's 7, that means she's been cheating with just this situation since the baby was like 3 turning 4. Ooh, that's what I want to put in context. And then he said this ain't even like the beginning, which is crazy because I'm pretty sure she had this baby not too far after she got out of prison. So like she got out of prison was like cheating off top or right after the baby. But anyways, I just want to give a timeline of like so you can see why he's a little perturbed. Would you use
lives has
perturbed?
been documented. What goes on with these celebrities is they like when y'all come on their page and y'all like their posts. They like when y'all spend y'all money on their concerts, on their music. They like when y'all make them rich. So y'all become fans and y'all follow the journey of these celebrities for years and years and years, right? As y'all
Mhm.
follow the journey of these celebrities, you basically become a part of their life because you've been following them for 10 years, 15 years sometimes. You've been a fan of a celebrity or artist.
You
But
ain't tell no
soon as something happens, the first thing they say to the fans is, "You don't know
lie.
me," right? Soon as something get out there bad that they don't want you to know about, the first thing they say is, "Oh, you don't know my life." Yes, they do.
So that come with the game, right?
He
So
said,
you
yes, they do.
yeah, he being real with what it is, and he understand what you put out there is what you get. That's what come with being a part of this social media era is you trying to get the good and none of the bad that come along with it. So if you're gonna be
And
who
they
you
had a
are,
show
yeah, yeah,
called Meet the Mackies.
yeah. I wonder who wanted that show. Yeah. So be who you are, and that way you get to stand in whatever you gonna stand for. Whenever the time come. So this is what he getting at.
So that was
They know
2018
you
is when
very,
that
y'all
show
know us
premiered.
very
Just so
well.
y'all
And
got
the
the
reason why I'm
timeline.
saying that is because don't allow none of these celebrities to fool you. When you hear a rumor that comes out, it's true. We are human, just like y'all, the audience, the supporters, the fans. So now you have a person here who life has been documented for decades through the fans watching us, seeing when she got incarcerated. Watch me visit her every day for a year straight. Watch me bring her 35 pounds of food a month. Watch me hold her down. Watch me in the courtroom getting into altercations with court officers over her. Witness when she came home. Witness me go build the anticipation for her to come out of prison. Had a different artist do a drop every single day. Oh, the queen is coming, the return of the queen, right? All the fans witnessed this. Witnessed her come home.
Yeah,
Witnessed us
you
have the
could
big
follow the
wedding
journey. Like it
ceremony.
was a big
Followed
deal.
her
They were like
entire
the black
journey.
love couple.
Right. It was supposed to be what black love means.
Yeah, they
Is
were like the black love couple. So like for this to be
is
going on,
is
it's like,
Jay-Z and
ooh.
Beyonce, is Will and Jada, is Papoose and Remy Ma for the hood version of those things. That's what was, being marketed
I almost
in this
sneezed.
particular space. You allergic to black love?
No, I almost had a sneeze. It was rough. It was like between like almost a sneeze yawn. It was terrible about to happen. Yeah, so it is they were, and I say were because they're no longer together, but they were the baseline for black love. Like if you go look up if you don't know who they are, go look go on your favorite search engine because I ain't shouting none of y'all out since they ain't sponsoring. But go on your favorite search engine and just look up Papoose or Remy Ma and put Black Love and see what comes up. And it's really literally what they're kind of known for. So for them not to be together is really bad for their brand. And so that's another reason why he's perturbed. It's like I did all this to build up a brand and
Right. So I just bring up the term of value. He way better than a lot of dudes out there as far as how he maneuvered this situation. He maneuvered it with I will call it extreme loyalty. So, for him to go visit her every day, that mean that he ain't making the money that he's supposed to make because or when he making money, he making it around the schedule of the
Visiting
time that
her.
he's spending with her. So he specifically got
'Cause
to
it
be a
takes time to go
regional
visit
rapper.
somebody in prison. You got to go in, get the clearance and all that, go drive in there, park. It ain't like you pulling up and they valeting cars at prison. Like
Yeah, you
I'm
doing
sure you're
all that.
walking.
You standing in line. Everybody already know who he is by now. Hey, what up? You know what I'm saying? He handing out donuts and shit. He he out here turning and coughing, all that kind of stuff to make sure he ain't got no contraband, all of that.
Yeah, so that's time out his day every day just to go see her. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little more context so you know who kind of a little bit like why he's bringing this up, like as far as brand is concerned. Then he'll get a little bit more into. I actually haven't seen this, so I've only seen a piece of it, and not even the part that I saw has come up yet. But I'm sure he'll get to where the issues are.
Never trust a celebrity who erased their Instagram. You ever notice I never erased nothing on my page? All you gotta do is scroll down. The same page that she utilized today to lie for an hour straight and tell all these fabricated stories, the same page I created. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. We get back to that later.
He said she don't even do her
I
own
went to
work.
pick my daughter up from school.
Mm, mm,
There's a young lady who was picking my daughter up from school.
mhm.
And I notified her, hey, I called her. I said, hey, I'm coming to pick her up. I picked up my daughter, gave her a hug, gave her a kiss, and I mean, show things you do when you see your child. Embrace my child, and I had to go take care of something that day. So after I see my daughter, I just wanted to see her and hug her because everything had been going on. I hadn't seen her in a little while. After I left, I think the next day or next two went by. She contacted me. Hey, you haven't seen your daughter since New Year's. I said, excuse me? I just seen my daughter yesterday. I just picked her up from school. What are you talking about? She didn't even know that I seen my daughter. You know why? Because she's never there with my daughter. She is never there with my child. And it's crazy.
Bang. So that's the first one that he just letting out. You know, he basically saying, and I'll say, when co-parenting goes wrong, right? In this case, I feel a certain kind of way for him because if you ain't gonna watch the kid, or you gonna have him with somebody that ain't their parent, and you know that I'm trying to be a dad, then give the kid to me. If you don't want to watch the kid, give the kid
Well,
to me. Go ahead. I'm
well, I
good
guess
by
my
now.
question would be, what if she was at work? Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm being honest, like, what that could apply to anybody, like, whether they're famous or not. Like, oh, she's never with my kid. Well, if she's at work, then she can't be. So, for example, if you're you're co-parenting, it's your time. Now, let's say you work 8 to 5. Well, schools for like little kids get out at like 2, I want to say. So that would mean that if it's your time, you'd have to pay someone or have your family come pick said kid up and take it from A to B or do aftercare or whatever it is that you're doing. So technically, no, she wouldn't be there. Like I'm just saying that may not be her situation because she's a celebrity and has a different
Yeah.
schedule. But I'm just saying,
Uh-huh.
like like a normal mom's shift may in fact be that. Same thing with a dad. Like if
All right. Let's
yeah,
let's
at
bring it
work. I mean,
to a normal people's perspective then,
okay, so
right?
you work eight to
Which would
five. They get out of
which
school
would
at
have the
2. What you
same
what you doing?
schedule like artists, right? So artists usually work, we'll call it third shift. So that's an artist schedule is usually third shift. So we'll put it in that context. Let's say
Depends
Remy Ma.
though if they got photo
Let
shoots or
me
whatever,
can
right?
I cook, please?
Okay.
Let's call Remy Ma, Remy the nurse, right?
Okay.
Remy the nurse works 9 p.m. to 9 a.m.,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
that means trying to get her get down between the hours of 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. because she got to get ready to go for her shift at work, right? All that I'm saying is if you co-parent with somebody and they willing to work or they willing to do the day shift so that the kid can have some semblance of normalcy because the child is used to and daddy. Then let daddy handle it if he's especially if he's willing and able to handle that to be able to see the child as much as possible. That's what I was getting at for that particular exercise. I don't care about no what ifs, what ands, and all of that. If there's going to an opportunity to be able to see the child as much as possible, afford that man the ability to have that time, love, and influence with that child.
But it depends. People got court orders. So, for example, in visitation, from what I understand from people that I know that have visitation, you have your time. So, like,
Moving on.
no, I'm being serious. Like,
That you
so
have the
there's
audacity
okay.
to open your mouth and say that I haven't seen my daughter, not only due to the fact that you didn't allow me to see her, since I
No, that's
finally
petty.
got tired of your lies, tired of your narcissism and moved on, but the fact that while you was running out here cheating with this lame,
It sounded muffled. I don't know what happened.
Because he got his thumb over the phone. Because
Oh.
he ain't no internet dude.
all you talking is money talk. You need all of your money. And I want y'all to know this, because I know a lot of people, I don't want to come across as I'm upset.
Right. It's like he
You know
on
why I'm
cops, ain't he?
upset?
He
You know
just
why I'm upset?
bad boys.
Because
What you
mentioned
go?
my children. You had the audacity to mention my children, and you had the audacity. Can y'all hear me? Because some people complaining about the audio. Can y'all hear me?
But you know what
Let me
this
know if y'all
gives
can hear
to
me.
me? It
Can you
gives
hear me now?
realness, like who he is, and I can appreciate.
If
I
you can hear me,
appreciate
let me know.
authenticity. I appreciate this.
A few people saying they can't hear me.
He just tired of it, so he decided he was gonna go
Let me
come
know if
on
y'all
and
can hear
talk.
me.
Whether he know how to use IG Live or not, he doing it, or Facebook Live, whatever
I'm not
platform
covering
he
the
on.
mic. Y'all saying I'm covering the mic. I let it go now. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brooklyn
it's
Jad
good.
in here. Jad, can you hear me? Because you all right, now, yes. Okay, cool.
We got
Like
you.
I said
Go
earlier,
ahead.
for those who just came on the live, everybody who know me, and I'm talking about speaking with my actions, I don't do this. I don't clout chase. I never come on social
He be
media
chilling.
talking about anything. Even when I got stabbed in my back, by the person that I moved mountains for, fought battles, did everything, was super loyal to, I still didn't slander you. I still didn't say nothing. I just kept it moving. But you had the audacity to mention my children. So since you want to mention my children, and that I can't let ride. A lot of people in your path, that's not you. Don't entertain it. You know what I'm saying? People see through it. She's bitter. She's miserable.
Okay,
Yeah,
so she
that's a
mentioned the
fact.
kids. Like Remy is talking. This isn't the dude. This Remy saying this.
Yeah, he ain't come out for no reason. She the one
Well,
who
I thought
started
from
this
the beginning, I
process.
thought he was talking about the dude was talking about his kids. I'm like, oh, it's about to be bad. But no, he talking about her.
But you mentioned my children, and that I'm not letting ride. So with that being said, you abandoned, you abandoned my child for months. I'm sorry, for days at a time, knowing she had to go to school the next day, knowing I had to go to work the next day, since you want to get up on here and say, "Oh, you don't have a job," because when I got the executive position at TuneCore initially, knowing I had to go to work the next day, knowing my daughter had to go to school, you stayed out with the lane.
I
You
love that
stayed
he
out with the
calls him his own
lane.
nickname. He called him the Lane. That's funny.
You want to talk, and you stayed out with the lane while your daughter was crying for you, tears. Also, she wanted to talk about all of this money talk and all of this and what I don't got and what I got. Since I met her, I have written 90% of the rhymes that came out of her mouth.
Bang. Number two.
And with me saying that, I want to say this to y'all. Anyone who has an iPhone, you know how iPhones work. When I was younger, I used to be able to write rhymes in my head, create rhymes in my head, and remember them. Just like that. As time went on, I got a little older, I started to write rhymes in my email draft. Now, if you have an iPhone, go in your email draft. If anybody come around me and we're in the flesh next to each other, I can type in any word from one of her songs, and her entire rap will come up. The entire verse will come up. I never asked for a penny. I never asked for credit. She was my wife. I didn't want anything from her. I just wanted to see her win. Like I said, I have written 90% of the rhymes that came out of her mouth since I met her. Y'all said it. Y'all said it numerous times. Oh, we know that's Pep behind that pen. Did I ever agree with y'all? Did I
Yeah,
ever
he
put it out
he
there?
just mind his business.
I never said I wrote her
He
rhymes.
always
I
mind
never.
his business. Yeah, he pretty much mind his business. Yeah, he pretty much mind his business.
I didn't need the credit. All I wanted her to do was win. Wrote the rhymes, did the contracts, security, the whole shit. So you fabricating these stories, and it's very weird that you're talking all of this money talk, but in your background, it's everything that I bought. All of the utilities are in my name. So all of this fabrication about, oh, he don't pay no bills, oh, he don't do this, he don't do that. If you analyze her live, the whole thing is about all of this money talk. Why? Because she wants y'all to think that she's this big shot. I don't need to come up here and perpetrate no fraud like I'm a big shot, like I'm this and I'm that. For the simple fact that I speak with my actions. You want to talk about black love? Anybody who follow me, they know I've always been pro-black and had knowledge of self since I was a teenager. So I've represented that since I came in the door before I even knew you. Okay? So don't ever talk about black love and what else she said? I gotta remember. So first and foremost, very bipolar, very delusional.
Oh, he
This is a
put her
person who will sit in
her.
front of you. She will post that live and she'll say later, I didn't do that. I wasn't on live. You'll be sitting there like, huh? She will say something to you and 10 minutes later say, I never said that. Very bipolar. And I don't want to talk bad about her, man. That's something that I never wanted to do. That's why when this took place, when she first got caught cheating with the lame, I brought it to her attention. I said, first of all, I couldn't even believe that she was stooped that low because he's such a cornball. Y'all see it, y'all say it yourself. I'm like,
Yeah,
yo,
he is.
no
So his
way,
name's
it's
like
this nigga.
Easy to Block or something like that is his name. I can't remember what his
Yeah,
name is.
the Black
Um,
Captain. Yeah.
the Black Cat, whatever. I mean, he's a younger dude. I mean, you leave your husband for somebody who's like younger that reports to you is crazy work. It's crazy work to me. It like I could understand maybe if like
I mean,
he was leaving him for
how's it
like
crazy?
the founder of like some crazy stuff that makes this young man super rare. But I mean, this guy wouldn't be this guy if it wasn't for you. Like you didn't need to mess up your home for that. That's crazy. Like you messed your home up for somebody who would have.
How's it crazy? Because it looked like this timeline here. That's what it looked like to me.
The only one out that group that's been married is Miss Knowles, and she was married for a long time. I don't even think she aligned in that group. The only one who wasn't married in that is Miss Knowles. 2 out of 4 of them ain't even got kids.
Okay. So what
I don't know.
what
Actually,
is
let me take that back. I don't know if Vivica got kids.
what does Miss Knowles have in common with all of them at this point in her life?
I mean, she just want to be wants to be independent and believes that she deserves something of higher tier than said men she's come in contact with. Now, I would love to ask her who will be her ideal man. I would I would love to know who is alive that you sitting here waiting on. I would love to know.
For her 75-year-old ass, who she
I'm
waiting
just
on?
I'm trying to understand that. Like usually people at a certain point in their life around the retirement just want to have somebody to kick it with. Like they cool, kick it with them and stuff like that. Like if they're not with who their partner
Right.
was or
She gonna
whatever it
get to the
was
point where
beforehand.
say, I just want somebody who got their needs replaced so we can walk around together in the park. I don't
I
want
mean,
to wheel around. I want to
hey,
hobble
that
together.
you know what? That's a reasonable preference. But if you talk about you deserve better, and like they're like that man is like incredibly successful in like the same age, and not married to somebody else, I have nothing for that. I would, like I said, Ms. Knowles, if you would like to come on, I would love to ask you who is your ideal man. I would love to know. Like, just not even trying to be funny. I really would love to know. If you ask a man that age, he gonna say Lori Hart. Like you ask a woman, I don't know. I would love to know. But as far as Remy's concerned, I mean, nobody wants to talk about this, but I mean, was he too nice? I mean, like, was he too nice? Like a lot of times, like nice guys get dogged like that, taken advantage like that. And women say they want somebody who's like that, wants to be down for them and, raise a family and be there and like all these things. I I mean, but maybe he was just too nice for her. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Maybe he's too nice for her.
All right. So then that leads to another thing. I had the heading about being
We ain't
undervalued.
got to finish that video, but like,
Yeah,
long
we ain't
story
got.
short, I'm gonna go ahead and get y'all to what y'all been waiting for. He ended up busting that boy upside his head. That boy was messing with his wife at the time. He came in, he knew where they was at. He kicked in the door, and he was like, "Hey man, we about to talk." Wow, started beating on him, kicked him, stomped him out. Like, yeah, he was about that. Anyways, allegedly.
It wasn't alleged. He did it backstage of a
I'm not
concert.
trying to.
So he
I'm
went
not
to
part of that.
somebody's place of business.
I'm
So it's
not part. According
essentially
to,
like went to if Remy Ma was a nurse and this dude was a STNA, right? he went he went to the hospital and he whooped some ass and knocked somebody out. The STNA got put on the ground. Nurse Remy said, "Oh my goodness, somebody go hit this man, pick
let
up
me
the
help
people."
him,
Right.
and then
Man,
stay with the guy who
why
was
did
laid
you
out.
hit him? And
But
he
this stayed with the guy
just
on the floor. Couldn't be me. Anyways, that's the cliff notes of what ended up happening with Homeboy. And then also, before we get into the next part of that, fast forward, they end up not being together. I think they shared custody of the little girl. He is now with Clarissa Shields, who is a boxer, and they have beef, which is crazy work because I'm not about to fight nobody who specializes in fighting. That's your man, girl. Teach my daughter how to box while you at it. Just, do me a solid. Anyways, but
all right.
they don't like
So
each other. But that's what I would have been on. Like, teach my daughter a couple of them.
all right.
Anyways,
So essentially, what I'm getting at here is
is
we looking
DDG too
at
nice? So what you're
at
asking?
two at two people that have relatively the same type of issue. We'll call
Different
it baby
personalities
mama
though.
trauma. Uh,
Completely different
I
personalities
don't,
and
I don't,
demeanors though.
different personalities, but same principle. They have the
Yeah, but their
same.
demeanors are like, so just to be I just want to point that out. Like sometimes people will be like, well, that's because their demeanor is like such and such. That ain't got nothing to do with that. You heard Papoose the way he talking. I don't like DDG is not the content would be similar, but the delivery was definitely different. And they on
Well,
the
you can talk about
same
somebody
subject.
from New York versus somebody from the Midwest.
Oh, he's from I don't know
Right.
where DDG from.
Pontiac,
'Cause-
Michigan, something like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Shout out to Pontiac. Shout out to Michigan. I like my Michigan people. Um, yeah, but I mean, Remy knew what she was getting into before she even was like, this is long term. Difference between the two of them is that DDG actually didn't have a whole lot of time to vet who he was with. Papoose did vet who he's with, and then she went and became somebody else. When you go to prison, I'm assuming that is not uncommon.
She
Um,
was who she was when she went in there. He thought that he would be able to love harder in that situation to change somebody.
I don't know. I've sometimes have dabbled into love after lockup, and it just,
Love that
I'm
blocker.
just saying, like,
You
there's
was
certain,
never there for me.
I mean, you
Huh?
just some things,
The
especially
receipt
when
on
they
your
go
book
back.
say otherwise, I believe. You call me crazy, but I think it says Papoose
But at least
on your
the
book.
thing to me, Papoose has in his corner is that, like, I knew you before you went in. We talked about XYZ. We were supposed to do these things. We talked about this. I carried out everything I said I would do. One thing I have not heard her say is that Papoose didn't do what he said he was before I went in, and while I was in, and then right when I came out. I don't think I've heard her say that, because he did, from what I understand, hold her down. Now when we go to DDG, if I'm not mistaken, he got caught up in that honeymoon phase. And you don't, in my opinion, I'm no specialist or have any, my specialty is not this area, but uh the first year, everybody's trying to impress everybody. So you're not really, if you got something crazy or off or red flag, you are doing your best to not show that. You're trying to give them all the green flags you can, the best, like, try to do things you wouldn't have done, uh try to do better. But if you, from a foundational perspective, don't believe in something, eventually it will crumble. And I feel like after the first year you start to see what's consistent. So yes, similar that their women seem like they wanted that type of man. We can get into that because I know that's where you're going with this. Different in time, timeline, and expectations. So I'll go ahead and be quiet now.
All right. Well, then that lead me to the next thing where it come down to the social media era.
This is
And
my expertise now.
yeah, here we go. So being influenced by feminism and how that can possibly ruin a relationship. So, you growing up in this social media space, and you can talk about yourself,
Uh,
right? And talk about how, not necessarily social media, but you done had a brick of friends, and how and
oh, we
how
put
and
people business out here
we ain't doing that.
today.
But what we gonna talk about is real life, right? So, in your experience, have your relationships with friends and peer groups, um, how have you
Mhm.
navigated your, hopefully had an independent mind? I can't speak for you, but have
You
an
was trying to
independent
get
mind.
my business out in the street. Okay, so first I'm gonna go ahead and talk about these two. So when we look at Remy Ma, I can't say feminism as much as I would say she is not. She claimed to be black love, but at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, allegedly she was in there messing with girls. So, like, if he's trying to have some type of traditional home, wasn't gonna work no way, because she's not technically practicing traditionalism. It just sounded nice, right? And she found a good guy to hold her down, right? So, anyways, answering the feminism part for her. As far as Halle Bailey, from the outside, I don't think I would have ever painted her from what I've. Y'all go back to our other. We did a live about DDG and Halle Bailey. Check that out. We got video of her talking about herself and like her own personality. Would have never guessed that. Definitely would have thought Chloe was like that. Chloe is her sister. Chloe is very spicy. Would have thought that. But no, Halle Bailey is the one that's like the blow up your spot type. So I don't know if that's like necessarily feminism per se, because like her dad was her manager and they were under Beyonce. But before they got to Beyonce, like their dad was their manager. So I don't know if that was the case going into that, but I think the empowerment post breakup with DDG is I was just on Instagram and a short like a reel came up of her and her baby. I think the baby's name's Halo. And in the comments, women are like, "Oh, you see how he acting with his mama and not his daddy." And it's no man to that. No man's comments in there was that. It was all women saying stuff like that when it's just not even necessary. Just say like, this is beautiful, your son is beautiful, this is y'all created a beautiful baby. Like, you could have just left it at that. But post breakup, the empowerment part for her is, you can do this by yourself, and because you can do it by yourself, like, let's crap on DDG. Like, he ain't had nothing to do with that. Remy is not the same situation. I actually don't even know of any women or I haven't heard anybody say anything positive about Remy Ma's situation on her behalf. Everybody is just looking at her like she crazy. So going into me, which is what you asked about, um, I I would say I'm not as close with friends as I would have been, or not friends with people, but also, like, you got to keep in mind, depending on what your choice is. I chose the man instead of choosing the friend. And some people choose their friends because they feel that their friends will be there regardless of the man. And I chose the man because my thought process was, you don't really know what you do know where your friends' experiences come from, but sometimes you don't. And just my own decision was to figure it out with the man. The man had more traditional values, meaning that you gotta kind of act right. When I say act right, y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't come for me in the comments talking about, I can do. Yes, you can. You can do what you want, but this goes back to these two men up on the screen. They have expectations of what a life with them looks like. And so if you are not going to act right, or AKA do things and actions towards what that looks like, that has been either set up, conveyed, or consistently required, and I think you would know what that is, if based on what I'm saying, then you would want to be with those men. So that's where I'm going at with that. Is
So you
so
talking about what people talk about, quote unquote, high value men and all that?
not necessarily high value men. It could be women do. So let me pause that real quick. It ain't just women doing that for men. Men do that for women too. There are guys who, I don't want to say, I'm trying to figure out the right word for it. They're not conforming, but they're just willing to work with a woman because they feel that that woman is worth it. And sometimes people don't see that woman is worth those things, and like whatever vision that man has for their family,
You
and
talking
they
about
end up being,
compromise? Is that the word you're looking for?
depends, because in a traditional home there is no compromise technically, right? Wouldn't you be led by the man? So it's not really compromise, it's kind of like following his lead at that point. So that man, if he's in a traditional, we're speaking from a traditional sense, these guys seem like they're trying to push traditional values with technically modern women. And there's nothing wrong with being a modern woman, there's literally nothing wrong with that. But what were they, to me, messed up is they pick wrong,
All right.
because those were not the women that really truly shared their vision with them.
So let's get into like the title of the
Is that what you're
of
getting?
this
Is that where
live.
you're
Yeah,
going to get with
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you giving your point, and that's fine.
I'll make sure I
So
answer your question.
okay, yeah.
We
So
got
I
less
want to get in.
viewers ever since I started talking.
So I want to
They
get
did not
into.
like that. They hit a thumbs down on that. They did not like that.
So then let's get into what we talking about for the title of the video, which is some factors that might make a quote unquote good man go red pill, for example. So
Good is subjective. I'm just throwing that out there. And there also, what I'm talking about is subjective too. Traditional could be also subjective in some sense, as well as modern.
okay, so you know,
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, what? So we gonna explain to some people what red pill might be. So red pill is essentially, um, where the men believe that society is biased against them and traditional masculinity is under attack. Um, and that is what drives what we would call a good man, and good man being a man that cares about the ideology of family, moral high ground and all that kind of stuff, and adopting more of a, we'll call it red pill ideology as they try to do it. So
which would be like extreme traditionalism,
right,
like meaning like
conservative.
maybe not to the degree of like you sit next to your man and you can't talk, but if someone were
Yeah.
to talk, some of them may say, you should maybe look at him first. They that level. Some of them are at that level.
Oh, you talking about what's that Kevin Gates style?
I'm just that's the religion that that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying like if you're being technically if you're being led, like depending on the level of it, which I'm not that, but like if you're being led, you wouldn't talk, right? Like he speaks for both of you. So it depends on what layer it is. But yeah, like it's like that's like kind of extreme
Right.
foundational or something like that. Just to give people some context.
Yeah. So what these two would have in common when it comes to, going down that road is that, they've had repeated disillusionment with their relationships that they value. Next thing is that they've had bias against them from another gender based on the what they're trying to promote. They're trying to promote family values. They're trying to promote seeing their children, and we'll just say more of a feminized type of voice is speaking out fundamentally against them. Next thing is, it's a bunch of disappointment with certain, we'll call it egalitarian, is we're gonna use a high value word, or blue pill ideas. So like emotional openness, partnership, equality in relationships. So trying to push that has essentially led both of these gentlemen, in my view, uh, you know, to either family court, having um, social issues, like, having to speak out in a social setting when they wouldn't normally do so, and, even affecting their work, right? So that happens to men that you might be a plumber. You might be, so, and your place of business is going to be disrupted off of that. Um, and and then this influence of online communities and echo chambers, like how I was putting out there. So, when those voices are amplified in these echo chambers, yes, girl, get them, girl, hey, hey, you doing
Oh, like
all of
the
that.
comments, like I was talking about the
That
baby, that was just
exactly,
unnecessary because that's unnecessary.
exactly. And then the last part about it, that'd be what leads them all the way off the deep end is personal or observed experiences of betrayal or divorce. So that'll be the last piece of it, where you witnessing or experiencing divorce, infidelity, or betrayal, especially when it seems to be confirmed by, we'll say, the manosphere narratives about female nature. And, that means trying to lump all women into a space, and that's where you go off the deep end spectrum. So I can see where stories of men losing custody, assets, or even status um, comes to divorce or the proceedings, where it's like a common entry point for a man to fall off in that deep end. So that's why I wanted to, have that is the hurt and pain that leads to, men being shut off, and then you're going to add in a caveat of having kids involved, so that baby mama drama or type of um, emotional turmoil that people go through. So you got people that have co-parenting challenges, and so that's my last question for you. After all of that, with everything that's going on, so you got DDG now,
Hmm.
and now you got Papoose. You got people that, it might be 15 years between these two gentlemen, but they going through essentially the same thing. The
Sort of.
main the main piece is the kids. So can you co-parent with somebody that is in that kind of mindset, when you've been in a relationship with them, and now all you really care about from a male perspective is kid, but you can speak from a female perspective on that. Um, and maybe where that mindset might be if you had friends, family that have been in that situation. I can't speak for you again. You know, you say that you chose the man in your relationship that you got, but I'm interested to hear your perspective on that. And
Yeah, I
Rachel
mean,
is that
I can't speak from like a co-parent perspective. That's I
yeah.
don't have no experience with none of that. But I do have friends who have co-parenting. Specifically, actually, both sides. So I know people that the co-parenting is terrible. Either the parent is inconsistent, or they not paying, they not seeing their kids, and all this other stuff. Complain about what all they want to do, but don't do stuff for the kid. And then I have a friend who actually has a pretty wonderful co-parenting situation. However, they have a very thorough co-parenting agreement. So there's actually like the courts are involved of like this is the like I was talking about time, like this is the time. So there's no gray. The only gray is if they make it gray when they talk, like, hey, I gotta work overtime or something like that. Okay, like can you I know it's like my day or whatever, can you keep baby? Yeah, I can. Cool. Thank you so much. I owe you one. It's strictly about the kid. Um so I do have a friend that I know her co-parenting situation is pretty good uh,
All
with
right.
with
So
the
I'm
dad.
going into the when you dealing with somebody with
So it
how
can be
these
done, is what I'm
gentlemen,
saying.
it can be done, but when you
But their
dealing
personalities are just like a different person. It's not volatile like they're experiencing though, from what I understand. And from what I understand, even when the agreements were set up, they were not in a space like these two. And that's the biggest problem is that in current state, which is what I think you're getting at, in current
yeah.
state, how do they work with someone who is resilient? And I would say, get your visitation set up, get your visitation set up. So you got paperwork and you got time and you got your time set up. And then you can show if the baby's being withheld or whatever. And then eventually, if you want to get full custody of that baby, you got your stuff in order. But a lot of times people don't want to get courts involved because they just feel like, why do we have to do that? This is our kid. But certain people or certain situations, it's just not good. And it sounds like in these two situations, like in Remy's situation, she felt like she should be able to do Papoose however she wanted to do him. And he should just be by himself and just take it. And he's like, nah, I'm not about to do that. So she's just gonna do what she gonna do with that. In DDG's situation, Halle Bailey has all of the power by being unmarried, right? So she doesn't have to comply with him with anything. It's a bonus if I let you see your child. And so for him, he should very much go get visitation set up, in my opinion, because then he is guaranteed time with his actual son, which I think he was, if I remember correctly, he was saying like he was already getting his lawyers and stuff involved, which is the right move. Um, but yeah, I mean, the women have the power in that, especially if you're um, unmarried women have the power in those situations. Married couples is not so much. I believe when they get divorced, it's like that's kind of like a part of the divorce agreements. So yeah,
Yeah. So
that's what I would say with that. If you find yourself you want to see your kid, you can't. You'll have to get some papers.
yeah, so in these situations, how men go off the spectrum on this to the red pill side, um, is loss of control and authority. So men frequently report feeling powerlessness in co-parent agreements, especially when decisions about their child are thoroughly. So that any consent going on, we see it. We have seen it, and we've seen it on the other side too. So we can speak about things gendering or misgendering children, agree to type of situation
You're breaking
or
up, but I think you're talking about that Texas situation where and then they went to Cali to go get change and all that, and then like I think if I'm not mistaken, we were talking about Elon at one point, like with one of his kids and stuff. But I mean, I can understand why somebody would go red pill, like if they feel like if you believe that a man is the head of a household and chicks you messing with ain't acting right, then yeah, you on that. And sometimes it turns into over there like kind of like the He-Man hater clubs. It's depending on how extreme it is. It seems like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out Little Rascals. But it's really just it's really guys who want to have a family be more of a traditional family, and their experience has either not been like that or people they know. And these two have I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them was like, I'm gonna just go ahead and go all the way red pill over here. Don't talk to me if you ain't on a traditional. I believe, did we talk about this being happening more and more? If
Yes,
not,
we are. So give your final drip before we head on out. We appreciate everybody rocking with us. We keep going over on these. So,
you played a lot more of the video than I thought you were, because I was just going to sum up some of it. But thank y'all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. If there's something specific that you would like us to talk about, or like we do lives every Friday. We go live late nights on Friday. Make sure y'all tune in. If there's something specific y'all want us to drip about, let us know. If you like the certain topic or want us to do a part 2 of something, also leave a comment, let us know. Make sure you check out our page, because we got some polls coming for y'all to go ahead and click on and start some engagement so we can get back and forth with y'all and start learning more about y'all and y'all learn about us. And my last thoughts on this in general is just, people are people, and we are not robots. We all have feelings and thoughts and so forth, and people can change for the good and for the bad. The best thing that people can do is make sure that what they have is an agreement. And to me, having your agreement with someone, that if they're not willing to be humane in how they talk with you and they're talking at you, then you should get some documentation set up to protect yourself as well as your child or assets, whatever it may be. Because they flip, change, reverse on you, and you just stuck. So that's my last parts on that. And some of this you can do online, by the way. So adding in the tech component, you can go online. It's probably relatively cheap to go ahead and get certain paperwork set up. And I ain't gonna say that about a prenup, but some of y'all need to consider that too. So, anyways, that's all I got for the drip.
all right. All right.
Oh, and shout out to Plain Dane. Miss you, bro. We gonna see you tomorrow.
Peace out, y'all.
Bye. Thanks for hopping on Cash's Pay.
Raindrops falling like life's endless beat. In the street, we move with swagger on repeat. Neon lights reflecting on the wet concrete. In this daily drip shows hypnotic heat. Every step we take, synchronized and bold. Underneath the storm, our stories unfold. In the city glow, our fashion never old. We drip in style, conquer hearts uncontrolled. Watch us move.